What's up guys, welcome back to the next video on learning Java. My name is QDS Dani and you guys watching my channel Korayon. Alright, so in this video we're going to talk about the variable scope, our you can call scope variable. So we say scope of variables in Java. What is scope of variables? Alright, so in the previous video we have seen instance variables. So these guys here, they are called instance variables because we gonna use these ones in here we had a variable and we're gonna initialize our this is called initialization of the instance variable. So because we are initializing this one with the Yazdani, with the address mail 30 here. Alright, so now if you look in here, then what we have here, we have a static variable here because in static we use the keyword static. Alright, so as I said, static is a class variable. It belongs to the class. As you can see here that we are using the object. Our here we are creating the object, and here we are instantiating our object. And if you look in here, we are using our object with all the instance variables. That's what's called instance variables. And if you look in here, we are user count, which this guy is here. User count is because it's a class variable. We are using the name of the class. And what's the name of the class? It's a social. You guys need to use the name of the class with the static. That's what it's called, static. You can use it anywhere in your application, and this one you can use it anywhere in your application with no problem, as long as you guys reference your class. Say for example, you guys need to import your class. You guys import your package and dot, and you guys gonna put your class name. And here, as we said here, you can access the instance variable with your object, the one you instantiated. You need to put a dot operator, and you need to put an instance variable class here. Alright, so now this one's out of the way. In this video we're going to talk about the first one, which comes in a scope of the variables is the instance variables, and then the next one is going to be the local variables. What is a local variable? Local variable, if you observe here, we have a method here int addition, and we have a parameter int number 1, and we have int number 2. And if you look closely here, we have a int result. This is the local variables here, and we initialize this one with the parameter int number 1 and int number 2. So this is the from the previous videos. And if you look in here, we have double, another variable which is the local to this method. Alright, so a variable that is inside the method, our inside the constructor, our inside just a block of just this block is called local variables. So if you're looking like this, say our constructor, which we're going to discuss in the future videos, this is just a method, it's called local variables. So for example, you can put an int result here. So now this becomes a local variable to this. So as long as this code lives, this local variable lives. So when the code dies, for example, when you finish the program and this local variable dies, there is no use for this local variable. So you cannot access this local variable from this method inside this method, because this local variable lives here inside this, from this boundary, upper boundary to the lower boundary here, which we call block, and this local variable lives here. The local variable declares in a method exists only for the duration the method is being executed, because a local variable exists for only for a temporary duration. The lifetime of the variable just here for temporary, just inside this method. And if you look in here, this parameters here is also local to this method, because they only lives temporarily only within this method of addition. Because if you look in here, we have this guy is here. When this method is executed, that's it, that's about it, and after that there is no use for this local variables. Alright, so there are a few rules to this local variable. So I'm gonna create another class, and I'm gonna go here and we go on Java class, and we can put a variable scope. So we have a class variable scope, and we're going to put our main function, and we're going to put a public static void, and we put a main, we put an array of strings and arguments here. All right, so now this is by itself is a method, as we've been saying from the beginning of the video. For example, if we have int, and we're gonna have a method. For example, we do addition, for example, just like before. So now we have a method here, addition, and for example, int, for example, number 1, just like before, and we have an int number 2. Okay, so now the rule number 1 says that if you have int, for example, result, and like that. So now looking here, if we just put it here, and we're getting error here. So looking here, the Java is not very happy. So if we go ahead and press this one here, missing a return statement, it means that the Java expect us to put a return statements. All right, so we put a return, and we're gonna put a result. And if you look in here, Java is still not happy. So we're gonna inquire why Java is still not happy, because it was asking for a return, and we put a return, and Java is still not happy. So once we go ahead and do that again, and it says variable result might not have been initialized. So if it's not initialized, it means we cannot access, there's no use for us. So the rule number 1 here is the instance variable. Look in here, we have declared that one, but when you're not using, we are not putting anything, and we just putting here later on at the end of our program, and there is no error being given. So that's the difference between the instance variable and the local variable here. So what about if I come here and put a system dot out dot println, and I put a result, and I'm still getting error. Now the error comes here, so the error jumps from the result in the return gone to the system out println. So I'm very stubborn guy, so I think Java is wrong, I'm right. So I want to go ahead and run my program to see what happens. So here, if you look in here, Java is telling me again and again and again, says, look, mister, you're not that smart, because variable result might not have been initialized in your program, because you guys need to initialize this one before you guys need to use this one. I say, all right, then I'm gonna say, Java, you win, I lose. So what if I put for example, I put a value of 30, for example, and if you look in here, the error is gone away. So how about I'm gonna convince Java that, look, now I have put a 30, but what about now? Can you run my program? And Java is gonna tell, let's see if I can run your program. So I'm gonna put it here, and you look in here that the error is gone away, but I'm not seeing anything. Why we are not getting anything? Because here we did not put anything inside our main function. You guys need to invoke your function here, and invocation comes in future videos, because you guys need to understand invocation properly. So here, but now you guys are going to see here, the rule number 2 is for local variables, is that if you want to access it, you guys need to initialize it. So that's what we're trying to access. We have to initialize it. We have to give some sort of value for our local variables to go ahead. Just if you look in here in this example, so I'm going to put it down. So here in this example, we have we are putting parameter, and there is a local variable, and we are doing some sort of mathematical operation, and we are accessing this local variable here. We're returning the local variables. So this is the rule number 2, because we're accessing here, when here we are providing some sort of arguments here. We're providing some sort of number we are using our object with the dot operator, and that's our method, and we are using some sort of numbers for these parameters, because without this one our program is going to give error. So that's rule number 2. And the rule number 2 says that you guys need to provide some sort of value if you guys want to access it. So what's the rule number 3? All right, so the rule number 3 says that if you want, say for example, your local variables, you can put it anywhere you guys in your program like. Say for example, now I have int result, and I'm gonna remove it from there, and I'm gonna put it after here. Java don't care. So if I for example run, and you're gonna see here Java is not giving me any error, and even if I run, then I'm not gonna get error, because now I have put in, I'm declaring, I'm accessing, trying to access this local variables in underneath this where I trying to access this one, and I'm not getting any error. So the rule number 3 says it doesn't matter where you guys put your local variables, you are good to go. There's no problem with Java. Java is not fussy like Python. Python's got a lot of problems. Say for example with the indentation error, if you guys putting indentation here, there is a spaces here. If you don't follow your indentation, then your program, then your entire program gonna crash. But Java is pretty cool. You can put your local variables anywhere you like. You can declare it here on top, or you can declare it at the bottom, or you can say for example, now we have a declaration here and we have initialization here, even though we are trying to access here on top, but Java's got no issues with that. The Java compiler is going to compile this with no issues. If Java's going to have any issues, then Java tells me straight away here. As you guys seen here, that as soon as you guys got put your local variables without initialization, then you guys getting the red lines here, but I'm not getting anything because Java's pretty cool with that. So we have a rule number 4, and the rule number 4 says that the local variable hides the name of the instance variable in its class variable with the same name. Alright, so now for example, if you have here, if you have for example instance variable of for example we have a string color, color, and if you have another method here, for example we have put a color with color, so now we have another guy here, string, for example bird, so we put a string, or you can put a void bird, for example. We can put a bird, and we can put it here string color. Now we have instance variable here with the color, and here there is a color, and we put this color and equal to color, for example. So what do you guys think that we have instance variable here, because that's the guys here with the on top, and now we have a local. So now this one's gonna hide this one. There is no connection between these guys here, because even if you put for example this one is gonna be null, and if you initialize this one for example with any color, and I'm going to talk about that in future videos in detail, so how the instance variable and this guys here, there's no connection between these guys here, so this is the local to this function, and now this one's hiding the name for that instance variable on top. And I'm going to discuss, I promise I'm going to discuss this in detail in the future videos. So that's the rule number 4, and the local variable hides the name of the instance variable in a class variable with the same name. And this scope is variable is also known as its visibility. So keep in mind, if you guys going for exam, or if you guys going for interview or something, just keep in mind there are 4 rules in local variables. So now I'm gonna repeat again that local variables has a scope. Variables in Java has a scope. So there is instance variables and there is local variables. So the local variables by default you cannot initialize it. And if you guys want to access it, the rule number 2 says you guys needs to put an initialization. So in the rule number 3 says that you can put your local variables anywhere you guys like. So here we have declared here underneath there is the print ln, and the rule number 4 says that the local variable hides the name of the instance variable with the same name. So this is called this visibility. So this one we have a method here, bird color. This color hides this one, and there is, if you guys wanna see that in the result, and that results I'm gonna talk about in the future videos. Alright guys, that's it for this video, and thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe Cryowood. If you guys have any question or comment, leave in the comment box. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye.